How's it going? This is Hoiman, and today we're taking a look at the S.H.Figuarts Shinkocchou Golden Knight Garo figure, and this is the Raiga version. So the only difference between this one and the Koga figure is that this one has blue eyes instead of green. And I'm gonna say it right now, this is a very nice figure. Definitely, if you're a fan of this series, then I highly recommend this figure. But firstly, this is the packaging. Nice premium sort of packaging. Follows the Shinkocchou figure line pretty the usual way. So you have a nice illustration of the figure on the front. And the box itself is like a glossy sort of finish. And then the name on the side is actually embossed in this silver nice writing, so it's kind of raised a bit with a bit of texture to it. So overall a very nice premium feel to the overall box. So it says the name on both sides, and then the logos on the top, and then the bottom as well. And then to the back you have nice pictures of the figure itself and different accessories he comes with. And then down here you have some Japanese legal stuff. And then to open the figure, you just simply lift off the front cover. Similar to like a mobile phone actually. So that just slides off. And inside you have some nice backstory to the Figuarts line. And then you're first greeted with the instructions. And then it basically just tells you what the figure comes with and how to operate the accessories. Pretty self-explanatory. And then this is the figure itself. And then you just lift out the front. And then you have all the figure's accessories in the back. So you can just bring that out as well. And then to open the figure, you just simply lift off the front cover of the lid. And there we have the whole figure itself. So here we have the figure itself, and as I already said, this is an amazing figure. And I'm sure you can tell just how shiny this figure is. That's because all the gold is made from like a, not die cast, but it's like a very metallic sort of gold plastic. So it just works really well for the figure. And then it definitely makes it really stand out in the shelf if you have him displayed. And it works really well because it looks just like how it does in a show. Just shines a very bright hue all the time. And then looking closer at the sculpt, you can just see how much detail there is in this figure. All the armor has all those designs and patterns and lines, and then the silver has all those embossed black lines as well. And then even just the gold parts have like the lines. And then the nice use of like metallic green and reds and stuff just really makes the eye popping. And you have like the matte finish of the black with a textured feel to it as well. So just a really nice contrast of colors and materials together. You see all the detailing down his leg. And for such a small figure, he pretty much retains all the detail that the actual suit in the show has. So it's just a very impressive figure overall. There's just so much detail going on. And for what I can tell, all the paintwork is just really clean and tidy. There's no flaws or anything like that. And then moving on to the head, you can see how much lines and details there are just in the head. All over its face and up to his ears. Just very impressive overall. And I'm taking a closer look at the eyes, which is the sole difference between this figure and the Koga version, is that the eyes are blue. instead of green. And from what I can tell, that's the only difference. The main figure itself and all the sculpt and stuff is exactly the same as the Koga version. But just again, the difference is in the blue eyes. So the net head has a double ball joint, so he can look down about that much, and he can look up about that much. So despite the heavy armor, he still has quite a bit of range. He can tilt his head side to side and also twist. And then the shoulder is on a ball joint, so you can move that around. And what's cool about the shoulder pad is that it's split up into two different parts. So this piece and this piece separate so that it allows for movement. So it allows the arm to get a bit more range, and then you can really bring out the arm. And then the armor moves along with it. So in that regard, it's very accurate to the show itself. So you can bring his arm out that much and then bring his arm forward, but he is a bit limited due to the shoulder. But because of that extra movement there, you can get just a bit more range going forward. And then you can go back, and then the bicep can swivel as well. And then for the elbow, it's on the double joint, but in this position, it can only get about a 90-degree bend. But if you move the bicep like that, and then move the elbow joint, rotate it like that, you can get just a little bit more range. Not a whole lot, but it's just something that you can do. And then the wrist itself is on a single ball joint, so you can move that however you want, but it is a bit restricted due to this piece of the armor. And then the torso is on a double ball joint, so you can lean forward quite a bit. Considering his heavy armor, he still gets quite a lot of range there. And then he can tilt backwards, and then he can go side to side, and then also twist. And then for the hips, it's on a sort of hinge, so he can bring his leg out about that much. And the belt piece is a floating piece, so it gets out of the way a bit for the leg articulation, since this piece of the armor does raise quite high. But overall, you're only about to get about that much range. And then he can kick forward, but again, because of this sculpt of the armor, it does get in the way a bit. So you kind of have to bring his leg out to the side slightly if you want to kick all the way forward. And then you can go back as well. And then you can swivel around that joint. And then he's got the double jointed knees. And you can see how the joint itself has texture to it, so it still looks pretty natural even when bent. And then his ankles are on a hinge, so they can go back about that much, and forward about that much. But it is quite restricted due to this piece of the armor. But then you can swivel it around, and then rotate as well, and then he's got the toe hinge. So overall, despite the figure being heavily armoured, he still retains all the articulation a Figuarts figure that you'd expect would have, but because of some clevering engineering in the design in the shoulders and stuff, he is able to get quite a bit more range for his arm articulation. That's the figure. Let's take a look at the accessories. For accessories, the figure comes with a pair of fists, which come on default in the packaging. And he comes with a pair of open hands to hold the scabbard. And then a pair of hands to hold his weapon. And then a pair of open hands. And then he also comes with a sword with the scabbard. And it's painted in a very nice gold. It's not metallic like the figure, but it's still like a sort of metallic sort of gold. So it's not So it's kind of matte but not shiny. But then you have like the nice metallic reds on the handle itself. And then this piece itself is natural gold chain. So that's a very nice touch to it. Adds a very premium look to the overall figure. And then you can pull the sword out. But it's just the handle itself. So the blade itself doesn't actually go in. But you do actually get the actual sword itself. And the handle is mostly the same, but now you have the added blade. And it's just very, very detailed. For something so small, it's able to retain all the detail that it has in the show. And from what I can tell, it's very cleanly painted on. Just no flaws at all. And then he also comes with an alternative head, which has red eyes instead of blue. So very nice overall. And then finally he comes with the cape. So it is made from a real material of cloth, but then there's wires in the side. So you can like pose it however you want. So it adds a nice touch, but I do find that it is a bit finicky putting on to the figure. And overall it does become a bit hard to pose as well. But other than that, it's a nice addition. You have the nice logo printed on with nice gold, and then same for the bottom. It's just very cool overall. So my final thoughts are, if you're a huge fan of this character or the show itself, then I highly recommend getting this figure. But even if you're not familiar with the show and you just like really nice looking action figures, then again, I can really recommend this figure. It's just a really excellent figure overall. A really nice piece. But he is a Shinkocchou line, so it's a more premium version of Figuarts, and he's also a web exclusive figure. So those two just add much more to a steeper price for this figure, but I do feel that for the price tag, he is definitely worth it. It's just a very nice figure overall. And from what I can tell since uploading this video, the price for him is slowly going up. So if you do decide to get this figure, then I suggest getting him earlier rather than later. But yeah, that's my review. Thank you for watching and enjoy some pictures.